Taxes are what we all pay collectively for what we could not buy individually. Police protection, roads, libraries, court systems, fire departments. It is how we pay for inspectors to make sure our food is safe. It is an important way that we express both our solidarity and our individuality. Taxes represent what we receive from being a unified society. More than what we pay, taxes represent the services we receive as people living in a national community. It is our responsibility to pay our share of taxes, not because we are forced to, but because we wish to remain a society. It is a duty. It may be onerous for some, but for others it is easy because they have so much. The ones to complain most loudly about taxes are inevitably those most capable of paying them. There are those who call the rich the job creators. Sure, the rich have lots of money, so that sounds like it might be true. It is possible that they own companies that do employ a lot of people. But is it really true? Do they want to create jobs? Or is that something that they have to do because they can't find a way around it? When a rich person wakes up in the morning, what thought is floating to the surface of their mind? Is it, how can I create more jobs today? Or is it, how can I make lots more money today? If they are rich, then it's a safe bet that the second of these questions is the one that they open their eyes to 7 days a week. Jobs are an expense. The rich make money by keeping expenses down. The rich like to pay the lowest possible wages for the fewest possible workers. If they can eliminate a job, that is good business sense. If they can pay someone overseas 10 cents on the dollar, then they will be willing to ship that job out of the USA. Let's think about how the rich really handle their personal finances. Take, for instance, Mr. I. Gotbucks, who pulls in a modest salary of $100 million. The first thing we have to realize is that Mr. Gotbucks doesn't spend his entire income. A lot of it is retained in liquid assets, cash, stock, etc. It would actually be quite difficult to spend all his yearly income each and every year. That just doesn't happen if he has any sense at all. We can consider two different cases. In the first case, we want to cut his taxes by $1 million. In the second case, we want to raise his taxes by the same $1 million. What happens in each situation? If we cut his taxes, suddenly Mr. Gotbucks has an extra million. He is pleased by that. Sadly, though, it doesn't really affect his life. Having all this extra money will not make him eat more steak and caviar. He already eats his fill. He won't actually develop any new needs simply by having this extra cash. So it goes into some bank account, perhaps offshore so he can hide it from Uncle Sam. He may buy some little trinket, perhaps a car or a boat. But all that money is really nothing more than a number. It isn't very real to him. It's just a number to rich old Mr. Gotbucks. And no jobs were created with that extra million. So what about the other case, where we increase his taxes by $1 million? Again, there isn't much change in anything he does. Does he have to skip that $200 bottle of wine with dinner? No, he can still afford that. Does he have to sell his fourth home? No, things are not so dire. Does he have to fire even one of his servants or employees? Not even that. The few people he directly employs, housekeepers, drivers, security guards, and personal assistants, are still needed to keep up his home and support his business interests. He won't even fire the captain of his yacht. That horrific consequence would only occur if he were to suddenly lose half his accumulated wealth. And the rich have been getting richer and richer, so a tiny thing like a few $1 million won't faze him in the least. How will good old Gotbucks respond to the mere possibility of an increase in his taxes? He will whine, of course. That is what he has been trained to do as one of the elite class. It doesn't matter that the perceived loss will be insignificant to him. He will cry and fuss and throw a tantrum, threatening all sorts of dire consequences. But can he do all sorts of horrible things in retaliation? Not so much. Remember that he doesn't have employees because he is such a nice guy. He only has employees because he believes it is in his best interest to do so. If a store he owns has 25 salespeople on the floor, the reason is because there is work for 25 people. He doesn't hire extra just to be nice. And if there is really work for 30 people when there are only 25 on shift, then there will be work that won't get done. Customers will be upset and go elsewhere, and the store will lose potential sales. No, Mr. Gutbrooks wants to hire the correct number of people for maximizing his profits. Not more people and not fewer. It is making money that guides his hand in this. The conclusion? Taxes on the rich are lower than they have been in ages. The rich pay much less in taxes than most Americans. If they actually paid a fair share of their vast income, the increase in government revenue could be used to pay for roads that the rich drive on in their limos. It could pay for teachers to train the children of their employees so that they will soon have a new crop of young and cheaper entrants to the job market. It can pay for food inspection so that his $75 steak can be kept free of E. coli and other foodborne diseases. It is only reasonable that the rich should pay their fair share. But are corporations different from individuals when it comes to taxes and job creation? Actually, no. Corporations who hire people are no different than people who hire people. They only do it because it serves their own purposes. The best way to encourage the creation of jobs is to encourage competition on a level playing field. Don't let any one company have a monopoly, or they will get lazy as they get fat. If a company is too big to fail, then there is no need for it to work hard to provide quality goods and reputable service. That is what they believe bailouts are for. Remember that athletes are only at their best when they are actively working out. When they sit on their past glories, they have already lost the game. There is one important way that corporations differ from humans in the management of finances. Corporations have no incentive to maintain large bank balances. Since a corporation is technically immortal, capable of surviving for any number of years, there is no retirement to be saved for, and no children to leave it to in wills as an inheritance. Since they are purely paper contrivances, they are also technically purely financial instruments. Money to a corporation only has value when it is being productive, so the money needs to be working. It can be paying salaries to get needed work accomplished, or paying invoices for resources that can be processed into products for a profit. So money taken in must be put into motion in some form. One of the ways to move money is through huge executive salaries. Sure, every extra million a CEO makes could pay for perhaps 20 jobs paying $50,000 a year, or 25 at $40,000, or 40 jobs at $25,000. That is the trade-off. Sadly, huge executive salaries do not produce higher profits, as many studies have shown. High pay for CEOs is merely a drain on corporate resources. In this, the CEO's massive bite of corporate finances hurt the corporation they work for. Corporations depend on all the things that taxes buy for us. All the goods that corporations produce are shipped using the roads paid for by taxes. They are protected by police and fire departments. They are defended by our government's international relations and our standing national defenses. Remember, the rich and corporations are not charities. They are at best very reluctant job creators. Let's have the rich pay their fair share. Thank you. Thank you.